standing in the corner of the upscale restaurant, watching my brother Noah bask in the congratulations of family and friends. I couldn't help but appreciate life's sense of irony. In less than an hour, his perfect moment would shatter like the champagne glass, trembling in our mother's excited hands. I'm Sophia Chin. Though my family still uses our old surname Martinez, I changed it after building my company, partly to honor my grandmother, partly to separate my success from a family that never believed in me. But they didn't know that. Just like they didn't know that Meridian Technologies, the company that just promoted my brother to regional sales director, was actually a subsidiary of my larger corporation, Sophia. My mother's voice, Clear's throat, cut through my thoughts. Come congratulate your brother properly. Stop hiding in the corner like you're at a funeral. I took a small sip of water. I needed to stay sharp for what was coming. The past 5 years had taught me that victory tastes sweeter when you're completely clear-headed to savor it. Noah was holding court at the center table, his new company badge displayed prominently on his chest. He'd always been the family's golden child, destined for greatness according to our parents. It didn't matter that I graduated summa cum laude while he barely finished college. It didn't matter that I started my first successful company at 23 while he bounced between sales jobs. In their eyes, he was always the one who would make it big. Little Sister No's voice boomed as I approached. Finally decided to join the successful people. He was already 3 glasses into the champagne celebration. You know, Meridian actually has some entry-level positions in customer service. I could put in a word for you. Our mother beamed at his generosity. Our father nodded approvingly. Neither noticed the slight smirk playing at the corners of my mouth. That's thoughtful of you, Noah, I said quietly. But I'm doing fine with my consulting work. Consulting? He snorted. Is that what you call it? Working from your apartment? No office, no real clients we've ever heard of. He gestured expansively at the crowded restaurant. This is what real success looks like, Sophia. A real company, a real promotion, real respect. I thought about my penthouse office overlooking the city, the 1,000 employees who actually reported to me, the billions in revenue my company generated last year, but I just smiled and took another sip of water. No's right, dear. Mom chimed in. It's time to think about a stable career. You're not getting any younger. And what man wants to marry a woman without a proper job? I touched the diamond pendant at my neck, a gift to myself when my company went public last year. They probably assumed it was cubic sarcomia, just like they assumed my designer dress was a knockoff. My subtle makeup wasn't from the most exclusive boutiques in Paris, and my consulting work barely paid the bills. I heard she's been calling herself Chen nowadays. My cousin Marcus piped up, probably embarrassed to be associated with the family. No, eyes narrowed. Chen, like that big tech company that just bought Meridian. Getting a bit delusional, aren't you, sis? If he only knew. Chen Industries had indeed acquired Meridian Technologies 6 months ago. The acquisition was my idea, not because Meridian was particularly valuable, but because I knew exactly who would apply for the regional sales director position once it opened. You see, my brother was predictable. He always went for the flashiest title, the quickest path to looking successful. I knew Gig Jump had the chance to become a director, even if it meant switching companies. What he didn't know was that I had orchestrated everything. The position opening, his glowing interviews, even the salary offer that he bragged about to everyone who would listen. I just like the name, I said mildly. Grandmother would have appreciated it. That sparked another round of eye-rolling. Our grandmother, our mother's mother, had been the only one who believed in me. She left me her small savings when she passed away. Money that helped me start my first company. Your mind is sharp like a sword, she used to tell me in Mandarin. Don't let anyone dull it. Well, I hope you're taking notes tonight. No said, signaling for more champagne. This is what a real career trajectory looks like. 5 years from now, I'll probably be running the whole company. I checked my watch. Mr. Harrison, the CEO of Meridian Technologies, would be arriving soon. He didn't know I was here. I had deliberately stayed away from Meridian's operations, letting my COO handle the subsidiary, but I made sure he would come tonight to personally congratulate his new regional sales director. The irony was delicious. Noah thought Mr. Harrison was his ticket to corporate success. In reality, Harrison reported to my SEO, who reported to me. Sophia never had your drive, our father said proudly to Noah, too, caught up in her dreams instead of practical reality. But look at you, youngest regional sales director in Meridian's history. I didn't bother to correct him that I was already running a $1 million company at No's age. Let them have their moment. It would make what came next even sweeter. Remember when she said she was going to start her own tech company? No. laughed. Right out of college with just grandma's few, zero. What happened to that brilliant plan, sis? What happened was that I turned those few thousand into a tech empire. What happened was that while they were mocking my dreams, I was working 18-hour days, learning everything I could about the industry, building connections, and slowly constructing something remarkable. What happened was that I became exactly who my grandmother believed I could be. But they didn't know that. Not yet. Our mother jumped in, her voice dripping with fake concern. It's not too late to get a real job, Sophia. Noah could really help you now that he's in a position of power. Maybe start in the mailroom. The restaurant's door chimed. I didn't need to turn around to know who had just walked in. I'd memorized Mr. Harrison's schedule. Knew he would arrive exactly at 8:30 p.m. after his last meeting. No straightened his tie, putting on his most professional smile. Mr. Harrison, we're so honored you could join us. I turned slowly, enjoying the last few seconds of their ignorance. Harrison's eyes swept the room, professionally cordial until they landed on me. His face went through a rapid series of expressions: surprise, confusion, panic. "Ms. Chen," he exclaimed. "I had no idea you would be here." The room didn't go silent all at once. Instead, the noise died in waves like ripples moving, backward as people gradually process his words. Noah's smile faltered. "Ms. Chen." Harrison was still standing there, clearly unsure of protocol. After all, he'd never met his CEO's family before. Never knew she had one. "It's fine, James," I said, using his first name deliberately. They were bound to find out eventually. Our mother's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. The sound seemed to break some sort of spell, and suddenly everyone was staring at me with new eyes. Sophia No's voice had lost all its previous confidence. "What's going on?" I smiled, channeling every ounce of confidence my grandmother had seen in me all those years ago. "I believe you were just offering me an entry-level position in my own company." The silence that followed my words was absolute. Even the restaurant's ambient music seemed to have stopped, though I knew that was impossible. Mr. Harrison stood awkwardly between worlds. The corporate hierarchy he knew and the family drama he'd stumbled into. "Perhaps I should come back another time," he started, but I held up a hand. "Stay, James. I think it's time for some transparency." I turned to face my family. "Noah, why don't you tell everyone exactly what position you were just promoted to?" My brother's face had lost its healthy glow. Regional. Sales director at Meridian Technologies." "And who owns Meridian Technologies?" I prompted. "Chin Industries," he whispered, the words barely audible. "And who runs Chin Industries?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Our mother had sunk into her chair, her perfectly manicured hands trembling as she reached for another champagne glass. Our father stood frozen, his usual confident posture crumbling as realization dawned. "This is some kind of joke." "No," finally managed. "You can't be. You're not." "Sophia Chen, CEO and founder of Chen Industries," Mr. Harrison supplied helpfully, then immediately looked like he wished he hadn't spoken. But that's impossible," our mother sputtered. "You work from your apartment. You're a consultant. You're a nobody." I finished for her. "That's what you've always thought, isn't it? That's what you've always told me." I walked slowly to the center of the room, every eye following my movement. "Let me tell you a story. 5 years ago, when I started my first company, I came to you for support. Not money, just support. Dad, do you remember what you said?" He couldn't meet my eyes. "You said, stop wasting time on pipe dreams. You said, Noah was the one with real business sense." I turned to my brother. "Noah, remember when I asked you to look at my business plan? You used it as a coaster for your beer." "Sophia, we didn't know," Mom started, but I cut her off. "You didn't want to know. You never asked about my work, my success, my life. You were too busy planning Noah's path to greatness." I gestured around the restaurant. "How do you think he got this promotion? Did you think it was his stellar sales record? His mediocre performance reviews?" Noah's face flushed red. "I earned this position." "No," I said quietly. "I gave it to you. I bought Meridian Technologies 6 months ago. I had them create this position. I made sure you got it. I orchestrated this entire evening." "Why?" Our father finally spoke. "Why go through all this?" I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Because I wanted you to know exactly what you missed out on. What you dismissed. What you failed to see." Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. "Miss Chen is being modest. Chen Industries is now valued at over $4 billion. We're one of the fastest growing tech companies in the country." The room erupted in whispers. Cousin Marcus, who had mocked my name change, looked like he might faint. Aunts and uncles, who had dismissed me as the family failure, were suddenly trying to catch my eye, their faces painted with desperate smiles. 4 billion. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Give or take a few $100 million, I said casually. The market's been quite good lately. Noah stood up so quickly, his chair toppled backward. This isn't fair. You set me up. You humiliated me. No, Noah. You humiliated yourself with every condescending remark, every dismissive gesture, every moment you looked down on me while standing on the foundation I built. I turned to Mr. Harrison. James, what's the company policy on nepotism? He straightened, shifting into professional mode. Chin Industries has a strict policy against family members. Working in the same reporting chain, and as CEO, I'm at the top of every reporting chain, aren't I? Yes, Ms. Chen. I turned back to Noah, whose face had gone from red to ashen. Unfortunately, this means we'll have to resign your promotion. Company policy. You understand? Though unsure with your talents, you'll find another opportunity somewhere. You can't do this, he stammered. This was my moment. Actually, I can. And I did. I picked up my purse, Hermes. Not that they would know the difference. Consider it a valuable business lesson about underestimating people. Our mother finally found her voice. Sophia, darling, we had no idea you were so successful. We always knew you had potential. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't rewrite history now. You never believed in me. You never supported me. You never even asked about my work. The time for motherly pride was years ago when I was struggling, when I needed it. Not now, when I'm worth billions. Mr. Harrison, bless him, chose that moment to interject. Ms. Chen, we still have that board meeting in Singapore next week to prepare for. Yes, of course. I smiled at my shell-shocked family. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have a global corporation to run. Noah, HR will be in touch about your transition package. Mom, Dad, I'll have my assistant send you some papers to sign. Legally distancing the company from any family claims. Standard procedure. You understand, papers? Dad choked out. You want us to sign away? Any claim to my success? Yes, you never wanted part of my dreams before. You don't get to have part of them now. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Noah, that entry-level position you offered me? I hear there's an opening in customer service. You should apply, though. I gave him a critical once-over. You might want to work on your people skills first. As I walked out of the restaurant, I heard the chaos erupting behind me. Family members arguing, mother crying, no one shouting, but none of it touched me anymore. I had outgrown their power to hurt me. My driver was waiting with the car, a subtle but expensive Mercedes that probably cost more than their house. As we pulled away, I saw them spilling out onto the sidewalk, watching my departure with a mixture of shock, anger, and desperate realization. Where to, Miss Chen? My driver asked. The office. I have some calls with our Tokyo branch. He nodded, smooth and professional. And the family situation. I smiled, touching the jade pendant my grandmother had given me, years ago, handled permanently. The next few weeks were interesting. My phone buzzed constantly with messages, from family members who suddenly remembered my existence. Cousins who had mocked my ambitions now wanted job referrals. Aunts who had dismissed me as a failure wanted to catch up over coffee. My mother called daily, leaving tearful voicemails about family and forgiveness. I had my assistant sir him all into a special folder labeled Karma. Noah, as expected, tried to fight the decision. He hired a lawyer claiming wrongful termination. I had my legal team send over the employment contract he'd signed, the one that clearly spelled out the nepotism policy. They also included evidence of his mediocre performance reviews and documentation, of all the times he'd taken credit for others' work. He backed down quickly after that. 1 month after the restaurant revelation, I received an invitation to a family gathering. The message stressed how much everyone missed me, how they wanted to celebrate my success properly this time. Attached was a photo of the family wall, now decorated with printouts of news articles about me and Chen Industries. I had my assistant send a brief response. Sorry, too busy running my consulting business. Mr. Harrison kept his job. He was actually quite competent when not caught in family drama. But I made sure everyone at Meridian Technologies knew exactly who was in charge. No more hiding behind holding companies and subsidiaries. My name, my chosen name, was now prominently displayed in every office. The only family memento I kept was my grandmother's jade pendant. I wore it to every board meeting, every investor presentation, every major decision. Sometimes when facing a particularly challenging situation, I would touch it and remember her words. Your mind is sharp like a sword. She was right, and I had finally cut myself free. Last week I received a letter from... No, Inside was an application for an entry-level position at one of our subsidiaries. No cover letter, no explanation. Just his resume with its conspicuous 6-month gap after the Meridian incident. I had my HR team send him our standard rejection letter. Thank you for your interest, but we don't feel you're a good cultural fit. Sometimes success isn't just about proving people wrong. It's about showing them exactly how right you were and then leaving them to live with that knowledge. Mom still sends holiday cards addressed to Sophia Chen now. Dad occasionally emails articles about Chen industry success as if he's trying to prove he follows my career. I don't respond, but I keep them in a special folder. Sometimes on particularly good days I read them and smile. Yesterday I approved the purchase of another tech company. During the due diligence process, I discovered that Noah had applied for a position to adjust last week. Today, that company's HR department will send out rejection letters to all unsuccessful candidates, including one addressed to No Martinez, signed by Sophia Chen, CEO. Some might call it petty. I call it poetic justice. The view from my office still shows the same city skyline, but now I see it differently. Every building, every street, every light represents a piece of the empire I built while they weren't watching. The empire they didn't believe I could create. My assistant just brought in today's mail. There's another letter from Mom, probably containing more apologies, more attempts to reconcile. It joins the others in my karma folder, unopened. After all, I'm too busy being a nobody to read it. And that's the thing about success. It's sweetest when it comes with receipts. When you can show exactly who believed in you and who didn't. When you can stand at the top and look down at all the people who look down on you. They say living well is the best revenge. But I found that living successfully, publicly, undeniably, overwhelmingly successfully while watching others realize what they lost. That's even better. Just ask my brother. He's probably still looking for a job.